sometimes they kind of rush on through, right? And we want to get to the point where we can relax well enough, and that it doesn't matter if we're doing it fast or slow, but the breathing and the movements connect in some way, right? Exhale to do the movement. Inhale. Exhale. You know, in that kind of fashion. But if I can't connect it, or like say I'm doing the movement relatively fast, it may be somewhat a different connection. But it's learning how to put that together in such a way that it doesn't cause like, we'll say undue tension in the body, right? I do the forms fast, I do them slow, I do them with knee lifting pieces, all of these different variations with force. And all of those things affect how we breathe, how we're able to move, and we'll say kind of how the coordination of all that takes place. And it's hard, but working on it, you know, in a right way, right? Like if I can take those breaths, whether it needs to be short or a long breath, and I learn to compensate. And I learn to breathe from here. I'm not trying to breathe from like, you know, from like a chest breather. So all kind of variation on that. And if we just move through the movements and our breathing is not really, you know, like I'm breathing in as I'm pushing out, it's not going to ever really connect well. And it's going to, some of those movements are going to be hard pressed on you. So, but again, in the beginning, focus on natural breathing, but kind of like, again, with the shifting stuff, right? As soon as I can get past that, you know, and I'm conscious of it, that I want to be able to sink and drive versus shift, right? The same thing with the breathing. The sooner I can start coordinating those things together, now I may not be able to do it on a more complex level, making short breaths or long breaths, and all of that, but at least I've got the flow of it right. Well, there's a couple other things. So there's a coordination of the movements, and maybe if you're new to Tai Chi, you won't see this stuff, but I'm going to share it with you because I feel that I just recently today, I watched a video and the guy's movements look really defined and clean, but he was fragmented. He really wasn't connected, meaning things moved like this. Okay, so we'll say connected, but like they're stacked. It's like, for example, like this, right? We'll look at a push. So the person moves forward with the legs stop, and then the hands keep moving. So like that. So you do like that, and then the hands keep moving. Well, to the average person, they look at that, they go, wow, that looks great, you know, it's connected. Not really. It's two pieces attached together. Okay? On a deeper level, our whole form is different postures connected together. But the postures themselves are not broken into smaller pieces that aren't connected together. Right? That's kind of the whole point. So you'll see people and, you know, they can have on the great Kung Fu outfit, or, you know, they've got really great editing and it looks really, really good. And, you know, just look past that stuff. Look at it, look at them as an athlete. Okay? And I say that like when somebody comes to me and they're in their 70s and they're doing this stuff, they're doing an athletic endeavor. If they're doing it also for, we'll say for fighting skills, then, well, again, they're learning a combat sport, or they're learning self-defense aspect, right? So I have to look at it on its face. It doesn't matter about age. But again, like I was saying, say the person's here and they move the body and then the arms complete. It looks great, but really it should be everything starts and ends together. Now, there's additional movement, we'll say, from the waist. This takes it even a deeper step, right? So the guy's here, and instead of him letting this stop and then this comes to a stop, he moves here, then the waist moves, and then the hands come to a stop. That's even more staggered, and it's still fragmented, right? I should be able to do all of those as one unit. And I'm exaggerating to kind of give you the idea. But look, if I can't get everything to begin and end together, it's fragmented. And in reality, right, well, for martial application or everyday functional fitness, give it an example. So, we just said this is a car, right? We went to that creative visualization stuff. So this is the back end of a car, and it ran out of gas or something, and I need to push it off a road. Okay, if I go to do this, and I move the legs, and then I try to push with the arms, I'm not going to be able to generate enough power to push the car. Because, you follow me? Like, I did the legs, and then I try to move the arms, it's fragmented. I've lost the power from the legs, from the reaction force, the kinetic chain is all lost. It may look beautiful. Right? It may look beautiful, but it has no real bearing on being able to use it. And the same thing for application, right? I'm here and I'm going to hit this guy, and I go like that, and then I do it with my arm. There's not going to be anything but arm power, right? The whole idea of Tai Chi is this unification of the body. I do it fast or I do it slow. I still need that same piece, see? But look, if I do this, there's not going to be any power there. So, for the self-defense aspect of it, I need a unified body. Mind, body, breath, to be able to articulate the movements, to generate speed, strength, force, torque, all of those attributes that I need. If I break it apart like that and fragment it, I won't be able to do that. And again, as it relates to your day-to-day life. I come over here to this door and it's really heavy, and I move my legs forward first, and then I try to push with the arm. Well, I'm talking about, it's the person's 75, and some lady, she's 75 and she's 5'2", and it's a super heavy, door. Maybe it's got like a little good thing on it, and it's hard to push it. If she does like this and then tries to do it with the arm, it's going to be difficult for her. But if she combines the legs and the arm, it's going to be easier for her to push that door open. Doesn't that make sense? So when I see that stuff like that, it's, in a lot of ways, it's like you're not getting the benefits out of it, right? It's the same thing like I was sharing a while ago about the sinking and the driving, right? If I do it this way, I'm going to develop the muscles. This way, I'm just using the knee joint predominantly, and I'm not really going to get a lot of benefit out of it. The same thing if I keep my body fragmented. A deeper step of that is, so we've got this kind of coordination, and then later it should be this connection from the hip, and everything begins, and we're going to use this govern this time. A deeper level, I'm even going to use my spine. I'm going to make it even smaller to get this connection where everything moves together as a unit. One other small thing I want to talk about, the back foot turns. So this is another one where there's these two camps, and I use the foot fixed and pivoting in different scenarios. In the beginning stages, or somebody that's coming to me and they've got some mobility issues or stability issues, generalized coordination stuff, then I'm not going to get them to pivot on the foot at first. When they can stabilize, and they can move the feet and things like that, like meaning they want to do something here. I mean, turn the feet and then they move to get this item, right? Or they turn, and they want something over here, and they drive and to grab this thing, right? Once they can do that, and I hope that they're able to do that in not a really long time, a few weeks, couple of 3 months, then I want them to be able to start learning to pivot on those legs. It cuts down on shear stress on the inside of the knee, on the connective tissue and the muscles on the inside of the legs. And it engages the muscles more. So again, the foot's fixed like this, and they're moving from here, right? Moving from here. And so they want to do the next move. Look, I sit and I turn on my foot, right? You see a lot of the more modern stuff, and they'll actually roll on the foot like that. You'd never do that for application, and there's never a time in nature or a natural setting where you would ever roll your foot out like that. You know what I mean? Like to step through. You're going to turn the foot in some way, maybe, to step through if you needed it, right? Like that. But to do stuff like that, it doesn't really have a lot of martial, well, it doesn't really have any martial application, in my opinion. This does. Stuff like this, where I'm hooking and picking up things. But to roll the leg back or to lock the leg to be able to turn the step through, that's too slow and it would be ineffective. So well, I'm just going to stretch the back of the leg, stretching the leg and the calf muscles and stuff. Okay, well, you can maybe say that. You can make a justify for that. But anyway, I digress. However it is that I move through, right? I put my foot in a fixed position and I step through. The weight's here, and I'm either going to shift it or I'm going to drive, right? But the foot's fixed. If I leave the foot fixed, I take away all of this additional, we'll say, energy that I could learn, I could use from the foot through the waist out through the hand, right? So by doing a fixed position, I'm going to limit the amount of energy that I can really produce. I don't want to do that. Some situations, maybe I need that. It's something that's like haste, right? I'm here and somebody tries to get me and I absorb and I push right away, right? And maybe I left the foot fixed, but almost just as quick as I can do it that way, right? Here's two like that. Or here, right? See? Go. But most situations, it's going to be better to rotate the foot. Just like a boxer, right? The boxer's here, and he's up on his feet, and he will rotate on the ball of the foot, right? As he rotates, he can increase the force that's applied through the hand and out. If he just left his foot fixed here, right? Not counting the shear stress it's going to cause on the inside of the leg and in the knee. Turning and pivoting is a natural thing. Holding the foot fixed is not so much. So in Tai Chi, look, the same thing. My foot's turned out, and I'm going to rotate to that 45-degree position. And by doing that, look how much more energy that I can produce out through my hand by being able to turn. At the same time, I'm using all of these muscles, right? By sinking and driving. At the same time, I'm not creating shear stress on the inside of the knee. This inside quadricep muscle, I'm actually strengthening it so I have more stability in my knees. I'm loosening up my ankle joints. Overall, it's just such a better way to do the movements. It's harder to learn. So the teacher that teaches a couple of classes a week, and I'm not knocking that person, everybody's great than anybody that's teaching it, but at the same time, it's easier just to go put your foot there. Now, you're just going to shift forward and back like that. Okay, well that's so much easier, but the body is not alive and loose. It's not pliable, right? We want this looseness to ourselves. Relaxing, if you will. In Tai Chi, they say song, right, to relax, but it's kind of like your body is relaxed, but it's the stability of it and the tautness is all there that I should be able to respond and do something not lethargic. You know, I see people doing this stuff and it's just almost like they're dead, you know, like that. I don't want to do Tai Chi like that. That's not energetic. And a lot of older people that would come to Tai Chi, they're already using a shorter gait, right? Real small gait, or their stride is off because they're concerned about their stability and their balance. Well, why do we want to just teach them something that's so methodical and slow? Yes, we want to get that body connection. We want to be able to do those things, but we can also show them Tai Chi is a fast form, right? Wu Tai Chi has a fast form. Yang Tai Chi has a fast form. Chong Tai Chi, like I do, has a fast form. That is, you know, to being, if we push the person outside of their comfort zone and get them to do other things, they'll become more dynamic. they will feel more, let's see, more confident, I guess is a good word to use. So if that makes sense. So the fixed foot, it has some opportunity in some places where I want it, but at the same time, I want to be able to keep everything lively, loose, free, where everything moves and moves together, right? And it's like this softness should be there, right? And once from the softness, I should be able to apply myself. But if I'm stiff and rigid, or I have pauses and hesitations, or I don't let my body go through the full range of motion, I use only part of it instead of full ranges, I'm limiting myself. And I think Tai Chi is great for all age groups, but putting a little bit more effort in my opinion, in how I share it, and trying to get people to do it in a more complex way, will make it to where they get more benefit out of it for the long term. So anyway, thank you for watching. There's so much more I could share on that, and I don't want to make it even more longer than it already is. Thank you for watching.